Do you want to better understand your thoughts, feelings, and actions? Be a better friend, manage stress, and make healthier choices? I'm Edward Jones, Master Certified Life Coach and one of the world's leading voices on mindset and motivation. If you want to increase your chance of success in your career, relationships, or personal life, watch this video. Why do we often fear rejection? Why do we feel that it is such a horrible feeling? Why do we sometimes allow it to beat us down to a point where we feel like we're being completely worthless? The question is, why? Rejection is often felt in situations when there is a certain expectation in a person's mind. When a person meets someone new for the first time, if they believe that person to be someone special, they might want that person to be someone special to them as well. When that person rejects you, then the person who expected special treatment is disappointed. And the person who received special treatment feels bad. By denying yourself love or affection, you are denying the opportunity for that other person to like you. And you are accepting the fact that you are not liked and are no good. When you are allowed to give up on love, when you are allowed to not give love and not receive love, when you are allowed to reject yourself, then you start to gain a self-confidence. You start to feel that you can win the game in your life and the game of life itself. Rejection is not hate. At first, when I first realized that I might be afraid of rejection, I started thinking about it as a hate. The fact is that rejection is not hate. It is an opportunity to better yourself. I do not hate anyone in the world. So how am I afraid of rejection? How is rejection something that I would want to avoid? It is something that I would rather avoid. Fear of rejection is like fear of failure. If you make a mistake, if you fail. If you make a mistake, you might hate yourself for it. You might be embarrassed. You might feel like you're a loser. You might feel hopeless. But when you fail, you will learn. That is when you will realize that the greatest experiences in life are oftentimes going through the hardest of times. And you will do this when you move past rejection into failure. Or you will do this when you move past failure into self-confidence. When you're okay with rejection, then you will move on from that moment forward and create a life that is more special to you. You will do this when you forgive yourself and move on, when you forgive the person who rejected you. When you forgive the person who you never expected to reject you, and when you forgive the person that never intended on rejecting you in the first place. Just like a businessman would never pass on the opportunity to build a relationship with a potential customer. You should never pass on the opportunity to learn from the experiences of others. Rejection is a critical building block for high self-confidence. In a study conducted by Tom State, he has proven that rejection builds self-confidence and self-esteem. In the experiment, volunteers were given a formula and they were asked to give it to strangers. The strangers, after taking the formula, would either give them some money or nothing. The experiment was repeated multiple times with different people. Each time, the formula changed, and the different results showed that the reason for the randomness was that each stranger would only accept the formula that matches with his or her own personality. The formula was either binary, a yes or no, or it was binary plus a list of traits. The formula itself didn't change. So, the majority of people prefer the right answer to the personality test, regardless of whether it fits or not. Attitude changes, and all your beliefs change, too. Even if you end up being right about someone, your confidence in that person is boosted by being right. Is it not true? That's what I'm talking about. According to Brad Schoenfeld, a senior lecturer in psychology at George Washington University, asking someone a question about yourself and getting an answer could have different effects on your self-confidence. For example, a person who is shy and doesn't like the spotlight might be anxious to say something and, therefore, reveal a weakness. Shyness also causes us to be more introverted. Schoenfeld said this insecurity of sharing our talents would make a person willing to do any kind of test to prove he or she is great. That's why it's normal for a person to want to speak, because it creates more opportunity to speak. We are more confident after overcoming a personal problem. Schoenfeld said, we become more confident when we prove we can do something and overcome a fear of it. So, those who have problems that involve fear are more willing to take part in the experiment. What's your most prized possession? If your answer is family, you are right. The self-esteem level of family members affects the level of self-esteem of the self-professed family. What's the difference between self-esteem and self-confidence? According to another study, people have self-esteem if they are happy with themselves and consider themselves good people. However, people have self-confidence if they feel in control of their lives. Self-confidence is not based on what others think about you, but more on what you think of yourself. People who think of themselves as good and competent have high self-confidence. The people who are selfish and prideful have low self-confidence. So, does having self-confidence increase my confidence in my decisions or abilities? No, it doesn't. Self-confidence depends more on the past and the thinking, not on what you have or don't have. But when people feel they are in control of their lives and the decisions they make, they develop more self-confidence. I think it's fair to say we have been having this discussion a lot lately. And there are many flaws in the first step. Why do we have self-confidence? The second question is easy, because it is based on something we know. The third question is the one we should ask ourselves. What does that mean? We must figure out what it means. There are no easy answers for this. It is a combination of circumstances, experiences, and people. My humble advice is that we have to keep it in mind constantly and cherish it. If you are involved in things you care about, be proud of it. This doesn't mean that you have to believe everything you hear or tell yourself, but if you think that your opinions are valuable and thought-provoking, then you have confidence.